Durham won for the second time in this season's Yorkshire Bank 40 competition as they defeated Derbyshire by 43 runs on the Duckworth-Lewis method after the game at the Emirates Durham International Cricket Ground ended early because of rain. Put in, Durham lost captain Mark Stoneman to the 8th ball of their innings as he got a bit too much bat on a ball from Mark Footit, which he timed too well to find Billy Godalman at deep square. Fellow left-handers Phil Mustard and Scott Borthwick soon put that dismissal behind them as they started to build their side's innings, helped a little on their way from some rather slack fielding for the visitors, who've not played too many games as yet in this competition. They had defeated Scotland on the previous day and so were hopeful of finishing off a bank holiday weekend on their travels in the north of the country. The Dynamos lost their second wicket in the 7th over. Mustard gave himself a little too much room as it turned out and lost his off-stump to Mark Turner. That left the home side on 40 for 2. Paul Collingwood looked in tremendous touch from the moment that he came to the crease. He only waited until the 13th ball he faced to go big, driving Alex Hughes back over his head for the first 6 of the match. The former England man was soon producing all of the shots in the book as he and Borthwick added a steady 56 runs in 10 overs to lay a decent enough platform for the rest. Not that either batsman weren't prepared to get the runs themselves. Borthwick was again looking very good indeed. He appears to have dropped off the England radar of late after playing in a couple of ODIs and one T20 game, but there's no doubt that his game, most notably his batting, is improving almost with every match. The total for Durham read 96 when Borthwick was dismissed for a runner ball 43. Going on the sweep to Peter Burgoyne, he could only top-edge the ball via his pad to Richard Johnson, who completed the simple catch in front of the stumps. One of the big moments followed after Durham had brought up their 100. Before Ben Stokes had got going, he offered Godalman an easy opportunity in the deep, only for the former Middlesex and Essex man to let it slip through his fingers. And that looked as if it was going to be costly as Stokes did what he does best by starting to find the boundaries in partnership with Collingwood. Stokes stood tall and looked to hit the ball straight with power, something he was able to do rather well as his side started to pick up the scoring rate in the second half of their innings. Collingwood pulled Turner to the fence to bring up his 50, the 65th time he's raised his bat for such a thing in the 387 games he's played in the one-day arena. That was his third 4 to go with his earlier 6 to take him to his mark of 59 deliveries. Next ball to start the 28th over, Stokes launched into David Wainwright, hitting him with one bounce into the passing traffic. It was a mighty blow from Stokes, who added 73 runs with Collingwood for the 4th wicket in 13 overs. Alas for Stokes, he didn't last too much longer after that immense strike. On a runner ball 40, he tried to hit Footit over the top, but succeeded only in looping the ball to Burgoyne at mid-off. Not that that loss slowed Durham down any. If anything, the rates improved with Gordon Mutchell now coming in. He moved quickly into double figures by punching Footit all the way, much to the delight of the home side supporters who love to see such things, of course. Mutchell then really started to tuck into the Derbyshire captain Wayne Madsen, who he eased for 3 successive 4s in the 35th over, by the end of which he'd raced on to 30 out of his team's 217 for 4. Collingwood just about had enough time to get to 3 figures, but in trying to do so he was hit on the trailing leg by Footit and had to go LBW for a 79 made of 83 balls. The Dynamos really exploded at the end of their innings. Wainwright's final over went for 15 runs, including a second maximum for Mutchell, who had by now moved with comfort and speed into the 40s. And he arrived at his 50 with a single off Turner in the 39th over. It had been a mightily impressive innings which had seen him to his half-century off only 30 balls, which had included 5 4s and 2 6s. Ultimately, as it turned out, this was the innings which took the game away from Derbyshire. Durham entered the last over on 263 for 5 and lost Gareth Breeze to the second ball as he was run out as he tried to keep Mutchell on strike for the last few deliveries. Burgoyne provided the throw, with Durham ending on 273 for 6, Mutchell making 57 not out of just 34 balls. With the rain on its way, Derbyshire had to get ahead of the rate for the get-go, but they lost an important man in the figure of the powerful Chesley Hughes, who was legged before to Graham Onions to the 5th ball of the reply. Hughes had to get back onto his feet to dust himself down before heading back to the pavilion. From there, the visitors just couldn't get the runs they needed at the rate they needed them in. Shivnarine Chandapal was setting himself up for the long haul before he edged Onions behind. Stoneman did a fine job in bowling Onions out, and it was a policy which worked really well, as the England man ended with fine figures of 3 for 27 from 8 overs, his third wicket being that of Paul Borrington, who mistimed his pull and was held just by Borthwick. That left Derbyshire on 69 for 3 in the 15th over, and after 9 more balls, the rains did arrive to end the game early. Derbyshire had made 70 for 3 at that stage, and that left them a long way behind on Duckworth Lewis, their pass score at the time being 113, and that means they lost by 43 runs, a result which pushes Durham up to third in Group B. Derbyshire are 2 places further down, but do have games in hand on all but Essex above them.